So we're going to focus on Alzheimer's because it's so common. 50 to 70% of all dementia cases are Alzheimer's. One statistic is 4.5 million current cases in America, and then projected for 2050 are 15 million or 13 million. We're going to be living longer. There will be more older people, so increased incidences. So here you can see how the percentage jumps as the age group increases. Just 3% in 65 to 74-year-olds, 18% up to 84, and then it goes up to almost 50%. There's the early, I don't know if I mentioned, early onset Alzheimer's is rare, and it's usually, there's a genetic component to it. But by and large, the research is indicating that, as far as we know, that there isn't a genetic link to all of Alzheimer's disease. I should rephrase that. The early onset, there is a greater association to genetics, but probably most people who get Alzheimer's, it's not predicted genetically. So it used to be thought that neurofibrillary tangles and plaques were responsible for Alzheimer's disease. Now it's been established that these do not actually cause the disease, but they're present in people who have the disease in their brains. So this is something that's changed from when I first learned about Alzheimer's when I was in nursing school. So those neurofibrillary tangles, there's a handout, there was the diagram of the neuron where you could see that there were hair-like protein fibers twisted tightly together and inside the body of the neuron, and then the plaques are what accumulates near the synapses. So dementia results from shrinkage and death of the neurons and loss of synapses, not the plaques and tangles. And the death of the neuron is what correlates to dementia. And it happens throughout the brain, in the cortex, the limbic system, all the connecting networks. And like I mentioned earlier, these neurons that are cholinergic neurons are most. Okay, so I talked about this earlier. Those amyloid processes play a role in loss of brain cells, and then they die and shrink. And then, so these whole cell loss of neurons, that's not a normal aspect. Oh, so there they are. The plaques you can see down in how they've deposited over there on the right side. Stage 2, the memory problems are more obvious to others. This is where you find they lose the thread of the conversation. Now, stage 2, mathematical calculations are becoming a problem. This is where you're going to see depression, because the person is aware that they're losing something, and how disorienting and frustrating and troublesome to have this sense that you're losing something and you can't do things the way you used to be able to. Some difficulty traveling, and then the problems with the executive functioning. They may lack insight to what's going on into problems. Stage 3, memory fluctuates daily to hourly. They might at this point forget major events in their life. Now the conversations are disjointed. This is where they become disoriented to date, maybe time of year. People with dementia, well, this makes sense. They can, I've noticed, remember what year they were born, but they won't know what age they are. You know, because it involves the mathematical calculation and then that memory of, that semantic memory of the year of their birth has been laid down so many times they'll remember that. So this is where stage 3, paranoia, anger, irritability could be an issue, mood swings. Now they're starting to be to the point where they're unable to survive without assistance. They can toilet and feed themselves, but they might not remember all the steps involved in that. Need assistance in grooming and dressing appropriately. You might see where they'll have the shoe on the wrong foot. You might notice that they're not dressed properly. They can get the clothes on, but they're not really right. Some social withdrawal here. Probably they don't know how to be with people since they're starting to lose their abilities. Stage 4 is the advanced dementia. This is when language skills are considerably reduced. The memory impairment is profound. The knowledge of past is fragmented. Now behavioral problems emerge. These are the people who are problematic in the nursing homes, and they're calling the doctor and calling us at the crisis line, and they're started on antipsychotic medications oftentimes, and there's sundowning, and that's in the evening when their condition becomes worsened, either by maybe we're not sure why sundowning happens, but possibly it's the end of the day and they're more fatigued and more taxed, or maybe there's more stimuli in the environment that causes that. So that's when we're going to see those behaviors. Receptive aphasia leads to emotional reactions such as delusions and obsessions. So you see agitation, and then there's this other phenomena, catastrophic reactions, and this is when the person becomes like frightened or disturbed about maybe some incident that happens, overly emotional. And again, in that movie Iris, there's an incident where she sees something outside the window. They live in the country, and she sees like a fox or something out there, and she gets just terrified and unsettled, and the husband, it's really a moving film, the husband comes in and comforts her. But this is what's going on, that I suppose that something's going on as far as her losing her ability to make sense of what is going on out there, almost like a child frightened by this unknown. But there's other theories of what this is about, the catastrophic reaction, that it could be actually some kind of biological, neurological thing that's happening. So we'll have sleep disturbances during this phase, fear of bathing, and then incontinence starts. They don't remember how to use the bathroom. Stage 5, very little of the self left. So for the family members, it's very difficult that they've actually feel like they've lost the person they know. all language skills are lost. This is where behavioral problems actually diminish. The patient who was agitated and causing problems quiets down, and they might not remember how to walk or sit or control their bladder. And the brain activity becomes significantly disturbed. There's possible seizures. If you think about it, if that amyloid that amyloid is affecting neurons, and neurons are dying, and the connections aren't occurring like they used to, the brain is definitely not functioning as it had been. So that's what's happening neurologically. Now there are different, if you look at different books and different writings, there are various stages. Some literature shows 7 stages of Alzheimer's. I don't know what. So this is where we end. All language skills are lost.